both of you doing today?
So good. I really love your setup. This is cool.
Yeah. I gotta keep a theme going. We gotta stay in theme.
Yeah, it's giving me sequel, like this third woman that comes in, you know?
Let's go ahead and claim it. I'm manifesting it right now. It's done. But look, one of the first questions that I did want to ask you is, outside of just this film talking about passing from a racial standpoint, I think it's something that everybody can identify with, because at a certain point, it almost feels as though we have to pass just to survive society, just to be able to blend in. And I wanted to...
That interview done. That's perfect. I concur.
But I wanted to ask the both of you, especially with the industry that you're in, how do you stay authentic to yourself? How do you make sure that you're living for you?
Such a good question.
Such a good question.
That is such a beautifully put, concise question about, and if I could answer it, I'd have learned everything there is to know about life and burst into stars and ascend into the heavens. But luckily for this interview,
don't burst into heavens. Yeah. Well, it's lunch after, so you could burst into heavens for an hour and come back.
I think it's so tempting, isn't it, to sort of mold yourself and temper yourself into something that will fit into what's demanded of you or asked of you, because why make your life difficult? But because that is, I don't know, there's something, I think we all know when we are listening to that authentic voice, we feel sort of at peace. There's a certain level of peace, except that's disrupted by sort of society needing other things from us, whether it's to keep us under the thumb, to keep us, to be controlled. And that's really, I think, what boxes are for. And identity for me is sort of refusing those boxes and carving a life out for oneself that is as authentic as possible. And unfortunately, that's not always accessible for everybody. And it certainly wasn't accessible for these women, but they're doing the best they can.
Yeah. I think that's entirely right. I think in terms of this industry too, I used to really, especially years ago when I was first starting, because when you're first starting acting, you're just trying to get a job, like any job. And the kind of opportunities that were presented me sometimes, I'll be honest, didn't feel right, But I'd be like, well, I'll just try it, And I think there was a real scarcity of opportunity, especially for Black women inside of the industry. And I feel really heartened that now more opportunity is happening, although I think it's still really, limited in some way. I think especially, I think Ruth and I have a measure of privilege. I think colorism is something that really is still pronounced in this industry. And one thing that I think I used to do a lot of is hope to be seated at a table. I want a seat at the table. And I think something that I do now that fortifies me is just to decide to just make my own table. Yeah. Because there's a bunch of other people that haven't been invited to that table. So you just get together and you make your own. And I think that's something now that I've really challenged myself to do more of, and that feels a lot better for me. And by the way, it means that I don't have to pass as much as I used to get over there to that table. I can be a fuller expression of myself over here at this one, and maybe there's less people at it, but those are the people I want to be sat with anyways. So that's one thing that I think I do to keep myself, saner. I won't say sane, just a little bit sane.
Look at y'all slaying that question. Y'all know y'all just slayed the question. Well, look, I don't even have nothing else to say. I can't even follow that up. What I'm gonna follow it up with?
You came in hot out the gate with it. We were like, okay, and we're done. Can we take you everywhere? Can you just
say the word? Say the word, and I'm there. Look, this has been such a treat. This is the best birthday gift ever in life. It's your birthday. It is.
Libra.
I made it every year. It was all worth it.
Yay. Thank you so much for being with us. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I'm
Stevie
just
Wonder,
sending-
happy birthday to you.
I'm sending so much love and light both of your ways. Just thank you so much. It really means a lot you taking the time to speak with me. And I just hope you have the best day ever. Enjoy your lunch break.
Thank you.
You
You
too.
too. Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Pair of weights. Hi, Andre. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. How you doing, sis?
Look, I'm doing good. I made it another year around the sun. I woke up today. I'm doing good.
That's right. That's right.
Well, look, one of the first things that I did wanted to ask you is, I hate to say this, but this film is very relevant to what we're still going through today. And I love the conversation that your character has with Irene as to what is the best way to raise their children. And I wanted to know for you, like, how did that scene hit even deeper for you, knowing that this novel that was written, many years ago is still so relevant to what parents are going to be having conversations on how to teach their kids about racism?
It really hit home for me. When I was growing up in Alabama, there was an incident that I had when I was in 4th grade where a thing happened where someone said something, use a racial slur in a really nasty way. And what I remember is not having the language to talk to my parents about it. What I took was the shame, and I think I sort of walked away from that thinking, well, that must be, what she said about me must be true, or there must be something wrong with me. So when I read this scene in the script, I thought, man, I really understand that. And I can understand how, as a parent, although I'm not one yet, it would be really impossible almost to figure out how to talk to your kids about something that you really shouldn't have to be talking to them about anyway, So anyway, that was just really what drew me to it and my personal connection to it, having experienced it myself. And you're right. I think it's ongoing now. It probably is a conversation that's going to continue to happen, sadly.
And even sadly, on how I can relate to your same situation of what I went through just in grade school, and just not knowing like that this isn't normal. That's something that we're not supposed to be going through. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
But even though we have our title of the film Passing, talking about passing more racially within society, I love that this is a deeper metaphor for how we pass just to make it through society, how we are really portraying ourselves to be, so we can just be more readily accepted by everyone else that we come encounter with. And I wanted to know for you, navigating in this industry, how do you make sure that you're just being authentically yourself and living for you?
That's a really good question, and it's a hard thing, because there is like this pressure to be, to be different things at different times for different people. It can be, sometimes it's difficult to find your own center and hold on to that. So for me, it's like a daily practice of like, meditating and doing the things that I know I need to do to keep myself together so that I can be authentic and honest. I haven't always been able to hold on to that, but that certainly is a thing that I'm really mindful of now.
Now, after reading, preparing for this role, reading the novel, has the novel taken a deeper meaning for you after actually seeing the film on screen?
In a way, I suppose it has, but I got to say, when I first read the novel, and I didn't know about it before this film, before the script came along. When I first read it, I was really knocked out by it. I couldn't believe that this woman had written this novel in 1920, 29, nearly 100 years ago, and she was doing things in that novel that I feel like we're just now talking about, in terms of like intersectionality. She was talking about class and gender and sexuality and race and all of these things in this like kind of complicated, knotty way before there was language to describe that, you know what I mean? So I don't know if necessarily the film illuminated things about the novel for me, but maybe more so the novel illuminated things in myself and just in like society of like, wow, this is a thing that is ongoing, and like people have been talking about this, and Black women have been writing about this, and we probably need to be paying more attention to the Nella Larsons of the world, to the Ann Petries and all the other writers who were, writing around this time.
I'm claiming it right now. I really hope that this movie does that. But I really want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. It really, really means a lot. And I'm just in love and light your way. I hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you. I hope you do too. And
Thank
maybe I'll see you in Atlanta. I'm headed there soon. But
Yes. Okay.
all right. You take care of yourself. And thank you.
Bye. Your weight. Hi, Rebecca. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm loving your framing. You look fantastic with the poster behind you. This is great.
Thank you. Look, I first wanted to tell you I love this short hair. I really,
thank you.
really love it. Yes. I was like, okay, give me a shortcut. Look, one of the first questions that I did want to ask you is you've been working on this project for quite some time. Like I want to say, was it 2006?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
about right? Yeah.
I want to, for all of the procrastinators like myself, I want to know what was that final push for you that just made you have to be like, I'm going to finish this. Like, we're going to get this done. I'm going to turn this into an actual movie.
It's a kind of long, it was a long road, and it sort of paralleled a lot of my uncovering and coming to terms with stuff in my, like the history of passing in my own family. So that was sort of one thing of it, but I wrote this script, and then when I wrote the script, I had all the big ideas. Like I had the black and white, I had the aspect ratio, I had the sort of soundscape in my head. The big ideas, the big kind of aesthetic ideas were there. And I remember finishing the script and thinking, you're crazy. Like this is way too ambitious. There's no way I can do this for my first film. So I just put it in a drawer and just was terrified of it. And then 6 years later, after I had written other things, I'd thought about directing other things, but nothing had the same passion and clarity of vision as I had for this project. I went back to it and I was like, oh, it's good. These ideas are good. Like, why am I limiting myself? Like, obviously this is what I should do. And then it was 7 years of showing it to people and people telling me, oh, you'll never get this made, which honestly just kind of made me even more hungry for it. And it was, don't get me wrong, it was tough. There were definitely days where, somebody said to me, when I pitched it to 10 different companies, 10 different, more than that, financiers, I had endless pitch meetings. And people would start saying to me, we love it. It's so great. It's so timeless. It's a really interesting story. Can you just make it in color? And I had this moment of like, well, do I make it in color or do I risk not making it at all? And that was a scary moment for me because I really didn't want to risk not making it at all. But at the same time, I knew that the film in color wasn't going to work. So I stuck to my guns and kept going, and thankfully met Nina Young Bon Jovi and Forrest Whitaker, who were the first people that I really came across, apart from Margot Hand, who stuck with it forever. But they were the first people that said, we'll find the money. It might have to be less money, but we'll find the money, and you just keep doing what you're doing because your vision is right, and we're not going to mess with it. You can do exactly. I mean, they literally never said no to me about anything.
I love that. I really love that. I appreciate you sticking to your guns, made a way out of no way.
Thank you.
Yeah. But, outside of just the topic of passing, racially, a lot of us really pass just to make it through the day. Yes. That we project ourselves to be who society wants us to be in order to survive. Yeah. And I wanted to know for you, how do you make sure, especially while navigating this industry, how do you make sure that you're being authentically yourself, just living your own truth?
I don't know. It's hard. It's a really hard negotiation, and it's something that I'm really fascinated with. And I think that's at core what this film is really about. It's like, how much freedom do we have around that? I mean, even when we do think that we are being true to ourselves, how much other nonsense have we internalized? I mean, how much nonsense did I internalize that I kept this script in a drawer for 6 years thinking I don't have a right to make it? It took me getting rid of that and being true to myself and being like, this is who I am. I'm someone who makes films like this. But we all do it every day.
Well, look, Rebecca, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me. I'm just so happy that you chose to stick to your guns and make this film. And I'm just sending love and light your way. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much.
Bye.